Coming up on Network Africa, Senegal's President Macky Sall rules out seeking a third term in the 2024 election. Senegalese opposition leaders credit pressure for Senegalese leaders backing out of third-term bid. And UNFPA and partners support Port Sudan Teaching Hospital, the only maternity hospital in the state where there's a hall for safe delivery. Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Joke Rogers here in Lagos. Let's start off in Senegal, where President Macky Sall has announced that he will not be running for re-election in the 2024 elections. This has put pay to widespread speculation that he would seek a third term, which his critics say is illegal. Rumors that Mr. Sall would try to extend his stay in power have fueled doubts of deadly unrest since 2021, in which dozens have been killed and shaken Senegal's reputation as a bastion of stable democracy in West Africa. In a televised speech, Mr. Sall said his decision was long and carefully considered, even though, according to him, the Constitution gives him the right to run. The most recent unrest was sparked last month by the sentencing of popular opposition leader Ousmane Sonko to 2 years in jail on charges of stemming from an alleged rape. Mr. Sonko denies the accusations and says they are politically motivated to stop him from running in the election. Meanwhile, President Sall's decision not to pursue the controversial third-term rumors, of which have sparked occasional deadly protests, was met with an outpouring of emotion by supporters outside the ruling party's headquarters in an upscale Dakar neighborhood. Some burst into tears and embraced each other, while others sat quietly in contemplation. Some had worried Mr. Sall would follow other regional leaders, including in Ivory Coast and Togo, who used changes to the constitution as an excuse to reset their mandate and extend their hold on power. Regional leaders, including the presidents of Niger, Mohamed Bazoum, Guinea-Bissau's Umaru Sissoko Embalo, and the African Union Commission chairperson Moussa Faki Mahamat, praised Mr. Sall's decision, while Mr. Bazoum added that it will ease the tensions already in the country. Well, opposition politicians are reacting to Senegal President Macky Sall's announcement that he will not be a candidate in the 2024 presidential election, saying it resulted from pressure from the people. Abbas Fall, a member of parliament and co-coordinator of PASTEF, the party of key opposition leader Ousmane Sonko, said it was no surprise. Sporting a bracelet bearing Sonko's name, he said, quote, "We need a president who takes pity on the Senegalese. We need a president who doesn't kill his people. We need a president who listens to his people. Senegalese citizens must feel and live the same as American citizens do." End of quote. Former Prime Minister Aminata Touré, who is now in opposition, said Mr. Sall's decision to respect the Constitution was because of the mobilization of Senegalese Democrats locally and the diaspora. A former trade minister and leader of the ruling Alliance for La République party, Aminata Diatta, has also, however, described the moment as historic. Yeah, so we'll have more on the political events in Senegal in just a moment. In the meantime, let's take a look at some other stories since Let's take you to our coverage on the crisis in Sudan now. Since fighting between the Sudanese armed forces and the Rapid Support Forces entered its third month, more than 2.1 million people have fled their homes for safer areas inside Sudan, and an estimated 630,000 have crossed into neighboring countries. In that time, more than 60% of health facilities have been forced to close in areas affected by fighting, and life-saving supplies, including for obstetric care, post-rape treatments, as well as a wide range of contraceptives, remain inaccessible in warehouses in Khartoum and other areas. In this context, UNFPA is facing operational and humanitarian access challenges as it works with partners to scale up its response to ensure women and girls can access critical reproductive health and protection services. In the Red Sea state, UNFPA and its partners are supporting Port Sudan Teaching Hospital, the only maternity hospital in the state, which serves a population of 1.6 million with medical equipment, supplies, midwives, and healthcare professionals to ensure pregnant women who have been displaced to Port Sudan from various parts of the country can give birth safely. UNFPA, the United Nations Population Fund, estimates that 2.64 million women and girls of reproductive age are in need of humanitarian assistance in Sudan, including close to 263,000 women who are currently pregnant. More than 90,000 women are expected to give birth in the next 3 months as violence, fear, and chaos envelop their lives. All of them need access to critical reproductive health services. Elsewhere now, President Bola Tinubu has expressed confidence that his administration is on the pathway to success in spite of the challenges facing the country, saying that Nigeria has no reason to fail the rest of the African continent. The president made the remarks while receiving visiting Bank of America officials in his office at the State House on Tuesday. President Bola Tinubu said his government is committed to instituting reforms that will engender sustainable growth and development of the country. According to the Nigerian president, governance and development challenges facing the country cannot be addressed without fiscal and institutional reforms. But affirming that no one can do it alone, President Tinubu made a case for the Bank of America and other willing financing institutions to help the country ensure a favorable environment for businesses to thrive. Meanwhile, leader of the Bank of America delegation and president of the bank, Mr. Bernard Mensah, expressed excitement about the initial steps being taken by the new administration in Nigeria, which he says is taking the country to its rightful place on the global stage. He said the bank is willing to assist the country address its immediate and longer-term challenges, not only in the area of financing, but also contributing with ideas. Mr. Mensah was accompanied on the visit by the bank's head of Sub-Saharan Africa, Mrs. Yvonne Fashinro, and head of investment bank in Sub-Saharan Africa, Mr. Chuba Ezenwa. The United Nations says the humanitarian situation in the Democratic Republic of Congo is very seriously deteriorated over the past 14 months. The top United Nations humanitarian official in the DRC, Bruno Macky, says that there's also a huge spike in humanitarian needs. He adds that this is the main direct consequences of the fight between M23 and the Congolese army that has displaced 1.2 million people in North Kivu, and most of them around the city of Goma. The indirect consequences, he says, have led to 39% of the population of Ituri being displaced.
The situation has very seriously deteriorated, and it's quite unprecedented over the past 14 months, with a huge spike of humanitarian needs. There are now 6.3 million internally displaced people in Eastern DRC, including 2.8 million that have been displaced over the past year. The main direct consequences has been of the fight between M23 and the Congolese army has been the displacement of 1.2 million people in North Kivu, and most of them are around the city of Goma. And most of them live in spontaneous sites. The living conditions for all those displaced people are suboptimal. The sites are overcrowded. The situation is very difficult. The indirect consequences have been mostly in the province of Ituri, which is north of North Kivu. 39% of the population of Ituri is now displaced. 39% of the population of Ituri is displaced. Ituri is twice as big as Belgium. So, and 25% of the population in North Kivu is displaced. The reason why I call it indirect consequences is because of the resurgence of the M23. The Congolese government has moved troops, many troops, to North Kivu, creating therefore a security vacuum in Ituri. Because of the immensity of the needs, our humanitarian appeal is, our ask is very high. It's $2.25 billion. Right now we are 30% funded only, so we need very strong support from everybody, from the international community, and we thank our donors, but we need always more.
We're still talking about the DRC. Increased violence, natural disasters and disease outbreaks are fueling the deteriorating health situation in the eastern part of the country. This is according to senior World Health Organization official Dr. Jorge Castilla. Dr. Castilla says there has been a huge, repetitive and very difficult increase of displacement, with a total of 7.4 million in DRC that are in need of health assistance.
There has been a huge, repetitive and very difficult increase of displacement, with a total of 7.4 million in DRC that are in need of assistance. With the different attacks that started in March in Rutshuru, population moves, they are attacked, they move, they are attacked, and several other areas like Masisi and Nyiragongo have had the same phenomenon, collecting people around the city of Goma. And when they move, also diseases move with them. Cholera has spread through the area, and it is now prevalent with 25,000 cases. And the area where they arrived has the highest number. On top of this, I think the international attention came to the area because the landslides and the floods that were in the news with injured people and facilities destroyed. So the entire health system is really under stress.
Elsewhere, a spokesman for Mali's Tuareg armed groups has expressed reassurance over Mali's peace process after talks with the Russian ambassador to the country. The armed groups had warned earlier that the withdrawal of UN's peacekeeping force in the country, that's MINUSMA, would deal a fatal blow to the northern Mali peace process. The ex-rebels have previously raised fears over the future of the 2015 peace agreement that officially ended the secessionist insurgency in northern Mali. The recent mutiny in Russia by the Wagner Group, which has deployed thousands of mercenaries to Mali since 2022, has highlighted doubts about the Malian army's capacity to cope with the militant violence on its own as the UN withdraws. South Africa's Zulu King, Zulu Kwazilitini, has denied allegations that he may have been poisoned. Speaking in a video, he said he is actually in good health. It comes amid conflicting concerns after the Zulu traditional prime minister said over the weekend that the king was being treated in neighboring Eswatini for suspected poisoning. The prime minister, Chief Mangosuthu Buthelezi, had announced that the king was in hospital following the sudden death of his senior advisors, also of suspected poisoning. The king's official spokesperson denied it and said he was in perfect health. But in the video shared with South African media, the king said he had been scheduled to go for his regular medical checkups, which he decided to do in Eswatini. The 48-year-old king ascended to the throne last year following the death of his father, amid a bitter row over the royal succession. And the family of jailed British Egyptian activists has held a vigil outside the Foreign Ministry in London to highlight a call by 100 British lawmakers for fresh approaches to secure his release. The pro-democracy and rights campaigner Alaa Fattah is serving a 5-year prison sentence for spreading false news by sharing a Facebook post about police brutality. He was a key figure in the 2011 revolts that topped Egyptian autocrat Hosni Mubarak and was given British citizenship in 2022 through his British-born mother. The lawmakers voiced concern about the lack of progress despite Prime Minister Rishi Sunak raising the case directly with Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi during the COP27 climate summit in November last year. French President Emmanuel Macron also took up the 41-year-old's case with Sisi, and US President Joe Biden raised human rights issues. Rights groups say there are more than 60,000 prisoners of conscience who have been jailed in Egypt under the rule of President al-Sisi. Welcome back, and let's get back to the politics in Senegal as we have joining us a business owner, political leader and former mayoral candidate of Sall in Senegal, Amadou Diani. Amadou Diani is speaking online from Dakar. A warm welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, certainly. So which is it really? Does the Constitution of Senegal allow or does not allow a third term?
Yeah, it's very clear, the Constitution of Senegal. So it does not allow third term. We have voted a constitution in 2016, and it's clearly limiting the terms to 2 terms of 5 years. That's why right now having a third term is just not possible for the current head of state.
And does it come as a surprise to you that President Macky Sall is saying that he will not run for a third term, considering the antecedents of many African leaders and going by what you just explained to us?
Yeah, it shouldn't have come as a surprise, but unfortunately, the way it has been going right now in Senegal, many people were thinking that he was going to run for a third term. But fortunately, he respected the Constitution, and he just gave us this good news of not running for a third term. So it's a good thing right now.
And from Ousmane Sonko, who has been quite vocal, are there, other possible contenders for the presidency?
Yes, we do have some other contenders. We do have former Prime Minister Aminata Touré. We have former Mayor of Dakar, Khalifa Sall. We do have also Karim Wade, who is the son of the former President Abdoulaye Wade. But for now, I see Aminata Touré as a very good candidate, because as a former prime minister, she also have a great background as someone who has a very great career at the United Nations. She also had a political background even before joining the presidential party right now. And she's getting quite a bit of popularity. The more we go, the more she's getting popular. So it would be very nice to have like a lady as a candidate and as a president of Senegal, which is going to be a very good thing, not only for Senegal, but for the democracy in Africa as well.
Yeah, so a lot of the opposition are saying that President Sall took this decision because he bowed to pressure from the opposition and from those saying that he shouldn't, run for a third term. We did see a reaction from members of his camp. Some people are crying, some people are hugging themselves, some people, maybe it was a sigh of relief because now maybe all the violence will stop. Do you think the president bowed to pressure from the opposition in his decision not to take a third term?
Yeah, that's a good question. As I said earlier, we shouldn't be having that discussion about a third term. So if we do have it, it's because he created that situation where we did have not very long ago some riots and some confusion about what's going on, and it shouldn't have been the case. Now, of course, the opposition is very cautious. They're saying that we have to wait and see what's going to happen. But for now, we're just enjoying like the good news, but at the same time, being very, very cautious.
And how are people in the business community reacting to this announcement? And what are you seeing generally as people's reactions?
Side of relief, because riot is obviously not good for anybody, especially for businesses. It's not good for people who want to come to Senegal and invest. It's not good for tourism. So when this happened, of course, it's a big sigh of relief, and people are quite happy. But again, we're going to see what's going to happen with the other political leaders that we all want them to be able to join the election. We're going to wait and see how the campaign is going to be run by the presidential party, and we're going to see if everybody is going to join and if we're going to have free and fair election. But for now, everybody is happy and we are enjoying the moment.
Thank you, Ahmed, for your time today, and please enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
Let's move on as we end the program. For every average American, July the 4th is not just any other regular day, but a day when the United States celebrates its independence. The 247th anniversary celebration, which held at the U.S. Consulate General in Lagos, honors the founding principles of the United States of America, which Nigeria shares a part of, and the robust and enduring relationship of the United States and Nigeria.
Leading up to the event venue is a display of Hollywood and Nollywood signs, the Walk of Fame, and Picture Time. It all leads up to a serene atmosphere with solemn music playing in the background. This gathering is the celebration of the 247th anniversary of United States independence. The U.S. Consulate General in Ikoyi, Lagos, set out the red carpet for the occasion, and the event begins formally with the anthems of both Nigeria and the United States. Addressing the gathering of cocktail-carrying individuals, the charge d'affaires of the U.S. Embassy in Abuja, Mr. David Green speaks on the partnership between the United States and Nigeria.
For citizens of the United States, our Independence Day, the 4th of July, is one of our most cherished holidays. We celebrate both the founding of our nation and the democratic principles that have guided that nation throughout its history. So I'm delighted to be spending this Independence Day here in Nigeria. As large, diverse democracies, the United States of America and the Federal Republic of Nigeria share many principles in the content of our constitutions, in the form of our institutions, in the relationship between citizens and their governments, and in our daily lives. Our struggles for independence, both the United States and Nigeria, shared a common vision of nations governed by their citizens for the benefit of those citizens. That common principle binds our countries and our democratic practices despite the continents and years that separated our independence struggles. But beyond the history and the broad principles, I want to speak to our shared commitment to the practical work of any democracy, helping citizens live prosperous, secure, and healthy lives. As President Biden has said, elected leaders owe it to their people to show that democracy can deliver for their needs. And the United States, I'm proud to say, is Nigeria's partner in seeking to deliver.
Representing the Lagos State Governor, the Secretary to the State Government gives a remark on his behalf.
The United States and Nigeria share a long history of friendship marked by several milestones of cooperation in trade, education, health, and security. We are proud to be partners in progress, working hand in hand to improve the lives of our citizens and contribute to a more prosperous and peaceful world. Our partnership is built on a foundation of shared values and a commitment to democratic principles, human rights, and sustainable development.
And then it's on to a toast to the U.S.-Nigeria friendship, as well as the courting of the independent. Global health advocate and former First Lady of Kwara State, Mrs. Toyin Saraki, reiterates the bilateral relationship between both countries.
One of the most wonderful things about the bilateral relationship is that because the United States of America really does believe in equity, in equality, and in human rights, I believe that the relationship that Nigeria holds with the United States of America is not so much of a North-South relationship, but a sharing of ideas, a sharing of ideals, and particularly a sharing of the democratic experience. So I think that they have always been allies to us, and we have always been allies to them as well. And I'd like to particularly commend what America is doing for Nigeria through partnerships in the development sector, you know, whether it's PEPFAR, malaria, HIV, tuberculosis, and even mental health. You know, USAID as a development agency has always had a very targeted focus in Nigeria, and I hope this is a relationship that will continue for many years.
This year's theme revolves around the entertainment industry, driven by investment and partnership with the United States, as well as celebrating both Nigerian and American talents.
Well, that's our show today. Thank you for watching. I'm Jackie Rogers.